I've gotten a lot of hometown people praying for us.
Harmony Allen has been fighting for justice for over 2 decades.
Geesh, this has definitely been a marathon of a fight.
And now, with some help from Colonel Dawn Christensen, a retired Air Force JAG officer turned legal advocate, Allen and her husband traveled from Florida to D.C. for her case to be heard by the Supreme Court.
Everything that could possibly go wrong is what your case is about.
Allen was 3 months into her Air Force training at Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas when she was beaten and raped in August of 2000, leaving her with a traumatic brain injury. Her accused rapist was a superior officer and her instructor.
The night that it happened, I went home and just cried in the shower. Blood just poured off of me. The next day I had school and an instructor saw my face. She knew exactly what happened. And she said, "No, you have to go to the hospital."
Allen was too afraid to come forward, but because she was taken to a civilian hospital, police became involved. The incident was reported to her base, as well as to the base where she was preparing to transfer.
They confronted me with a stack of paperwork and said, "It never happened." They were like, "You're a liar. You must have wanted this to happen. You must be into rough sex."
Throughout her time in the military, Allen reported her rape at least 5 times to different military officials. An official investigation wasn't launched until 2014, when Allen left the military and tried to get VA benefits for PTSD related to the attack. It took 3 more years, but Master Sergeant Richard Collins was convicted of rape and sentenced to 16 and a half years in prison. But in 2018, the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces placed a 5-year statute of limitations on reporting military sexual assaults that happened before 2006. Master Sergeant Collins appealed based on the new precedent and won. He walked free after just 2 years in prison. But Allen decided to fight back again. She is now taking her case to the Supreme Court.
Almost never does a military case go to the Supreme Court, and I said, we need to write a letter to the Judge Advocate General of the Air Force. And you wrote, I'm sorry, what you wrote was so powerful. And I know when you wrote that, there was no way that the Air Force could stand by and let what happened, the decades of you being abused, continue. So we're there.
The Supreme Court is hearing Allen's case along with 2 others, in a consolidated case now known as the United States v. Briggs. Allen and her fellow plaintiffs are among 5 victims who have seen their rapist convictions vacated because of the new statute of limitations, and at least 10 victims whose cases have been dismissed by the military. But the problem it represents is massive. About 25% of women in the United States military experience sexual harassment each year.
About 60% of the women who report a sexual assault case will be retaliated against. 1 in 3 women who report a sexual assault or rape in the military are forced out of the military within a year. That lack of accountability is a failure on the chain of command.
The problem made international headlines in April when Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen, who was stationed at Fort Hood, was found brutally murdered. Her family says Guillen told them she was being sexually harassed by an officer, and they believe the same perpetrator is responsible for her death. Guillen's death sparked what is being called the military's Me Too moment. And now, with increased pressure on Congress to address military impunity, the Guillen family is pushing to pass the I Am Vanessa Guillen bill. It would make sexual harassment a crime within the Uniform Code of Military Justice and take decisions to prosecute out of the military chain of command.
Vanessa Guillen fought for us, and now it's time to fight for her.
I think right now we are at a point where we could actually have real change. It is Vanessa Guillen. What happened to her has galvanized members of the military, it's galvanized people on the Hill, and it's Harmony's case.
I am so nervous. I didn't have a good sleep. I'm literally the only female in the military to ever take their rape case to the Supreme Court. So either way, it's setting a precedence, and that's the part that has me scared.
On the day of the Supreme Court arguments, Allen tuned in virtually from the office of her representative, Congressman Brian Mast.
Justice Alito, could you explain why you think the statutory language is clear enough to open?
That's that.
I got lots of questions. Thank you.
Allen won't hear the results of her case for potentially months, but it took her back 20 years to the day of her assault.
I remember Sergeant Collins being on top of me. I was knocked out. And when I came to, I could tell that I lost. And he was yelling at me, "Take it, bitch. No one's gonna believe you if you say something because I'm a sergeant and you're an airman." And he said, "And if you do, I'll fail you out of radiology school." And then the last thing he said was that he would kill me. And every part of my body hurt. And I just laid there thinking that I'm gonna die. And I can't forget it. No matter how many times, I can't forget it.
Do you want a break?
Allen had to stop the interview, but wanted us to show this footage. We followed up with her to let her explain why.
I want people to see the footage, to understand, to believe victims, to believe me about what happened. I'm gonna get sick. About what my rapist did to me and what he still takes from me every day.